What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours of nonstop NBA DFS conversation starts right now. 7-game slate. Both of the sites, both DK and FanDuel, did coordinate. We got the 2 late games on DK as well. 5 early, 2 late. It is 2/3 of the OG crew. It's Head Chopper, it's beer, it's Friday. It is a film Friday, and the excitement, palpable pre-show. You guys, Chop doesn't care about the slate, but he does. He does care about Film Friday, I think. I think you probably care about both. What's up, Chop?
No, I don't care about the slate. I do want to guess on the movie though. But the slate, yeah, you could have the slate. I don't really care, but the movie sounds fun. It's Movie Friday. It's get off the show, finish up whatever you got to do here with lineups and all this other jazz, and find a movie, man. Get some food and find a movie. Love Friday nights like that.
Do you already have your Friday night movie lined up?
I'm gonna look a little bit more when it comes closer to time. There didn't seem to be any new releases coming out streaming right now, so I'm probably gonna go with something I haven't seen that came out a couple years ago. I don't know if you even know it's Violent Night. It's kind of like
it.
Have you?
Yeah.
No spoilers.
It's good. It's good.
Is it really? Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm not even like a Santa. Whatever. Yeah. That's not a spoiler. Santa's involved.
Well, that's going to be my backup just in case there's nothing I can find that's new streaming. So that'll be the backup. I've been wanting to see that for a while. So I'm ready for it, Dean. I think we're going to pick up some seafood here later on.
Nice.
Yeah, man. You got pizza's next Friday pizza. So we're going to do seafood this Friday. You got to map these things out. Dean, that's the one thing that when you're in your 20s, they don't tell you this, but one day you'll be mapping out your Fridays 1 week in advance of what to eat, man. That's just weird like that.
By the way, Chop, Fly Me to the Moon just dropped on Apple. That's the Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum movie that came out last night or 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever. I was tempted to start watching it because I was up late, but I resisted. But that should be pretty good. It's about them like faking the moon landing. And I think it's a comedy with Woody Harrelson, Scarlett Johansson, and Channing Tatum. So that just dropped. I know you're a big Channing Tatum guy. So
yeah, he's awesome. He's a good actor.
Yeah. Beard, do you have a movie night or anything of the sort like that?
My kids are mostly teenagers now, so they're in 50 different directions. So it's tougher to coordinate many family nights, which all right. Me and the wife probably sit back, watch some shows. Just started Landman, the new Taylor Sheridan show.
I just whipped through those, man. Those are good.
It's good. Yeah, we just started the first episode, so that'll be my Friday night here.
So I got 2 things, Beer. Number one, yeah, the movie nights aren't with the kids anymore. They're doing their own thing, man. Like this is just for me and the wife. But Landman, like I'm watching that on my own when the wife goes to bed. I can't. Now I don't know how many episodes you've seen so far. But there's a couple scenes in there. I don't want the wife to be around when they come on, if you know what I mean.
I got you.
The Blade Bob Thornton scenes. I know he's in it. Demi Moore as well as Ali Larter. Ali Larter was she Friday Night Lights? Is that
Varsity Blues. The whipped cream bikini, Dean. Come on.
You can tell. You can tell she's aged a little, but
looks good.
The older the berry, the sweeter the juice, Dean.
Michelle Randolph also starring. I'm not sure who that is, but she's apparently one of the leads. Is that like Paramount? I think it's Paramount, right?
Taylor Sheridan's on quite a run here. So, strike while the iron's hot. He just keeps pumping out these shows. That's Yellowstone. That's, a couple other shows I really liked. So, yeah, excited to see that one. So I might have to take Chop's advice, though. Maybe I tell the wife to sit this one out.
Like the code, though, like when you watch a show with your significant other, it's like you're not allowed to cheat. You're supposed to keep the same.
Right.
You can't skip ahead, right? If you do, like, you got to pretend like you didn't. Oh, I didn't see that coming.
Well, here's my issue. Like, I could pump out some shows. Like, I want to get on a roll. I want to watch 3, 4, 5, and she wants to watch 1 or 2. So there's certain shows that I set aside for her. If it's 7 seasons, I am not watching with the wife because it'll take us 7 years. So you got to, like Chop said, there's certain planning, and it shows you got to plan as well.
Fair enough. Got a plan for tonight's DFS slate as well, and that plan might change because LeBron James officially questionable. He's been bad, very bad by his standards. Anthony Davis has been terrible by his standards as well. Speculation he's dealing with an injury right now, and if you look at his scoring and just his usage, just not been very good. But like he looks good right now, and he would look ridiculous as far as math-wise, at least, if LeBron happens to sit. We have an if-then set up for that, and he looks spectacular. Kobe White is questionable for the Bulls. Who else are we monitoring? Tareem Prince, midday downgrade as far as having the fish. He's questionable. We are getting Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is expected to make his season debut tonight on national television. That's the first half of the ESPN doubleheader. That's Boston and Milwaukee. The back half is Minnesota Golden State. We are getting Steph Curry back tonight. We are getting Draymond back tonight. We're not getting Wemby back tonight. There are 4 teams in the back half of back-to-back. That's the Bulls, the Warriors, the Kings, and the Spurs. Wemby not officially out, but he is doubtful. So assume he does not go. Interestingly enough, we are projecting Sohan to start again at the 5. We'll see, but like Sabonis would absolutely destroy. Probably just be awesome versus Sohan. Sohan was good. He did the best he could last night, but Vuk, of course, ripped him because kind of undersized. And we were talking yesterday about Collins and Bassey, but both those guys got bumped up as far as their prices. So even if one of them starts, I wouldn't say it's like smash city. Collins now 5K on DK. Bassey is 4K. Okay. We should drop that first clue. We kind of teased it. We kind of talked about it. First clue as far as Film Friday. Give us the answer. Let me know. First person to guess correctly. 1 guess per clue drop. You guys can guess on our little private chat. Have some fun here. But the first clue is Oz. OZ. Oz is the first clue. Tell me what movie we're talking about. Give me the answer to the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. And it's not just for fun. You get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. A week free of RG Premium if you're the first person to answer this correctly. Chop, I see you're in deep thought, but yeah, Oz is the first.
I mean, it could go like respectfully, Dean. Just I don't know. I don't even know how people would guess something like that on the because the way your clues. I mean, that could be like literally. That could be
it's definitely not Wicked. I already see Wicked in the chat. I mean,
it could be a piece of a guy's first name, or could be from that HBO series Oz, an actor
that's
from
what
there.
I thought of. Yeah,
like it could be
Dr. Oz. Somehow.
It could be so many things. I don't even know how people would guess on the first try like that.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to guess Wicked just to guess Wicked, but like you think I'm going to give that as a first clue? Like, come on, this is amateur hour. I understand why you would guess it, but. There's no way it's going to be, or maybe it is. Maybe it is. I'm just going to pull the old switcheroo, and everybody thinks, well, there's no way it's Wicked, and it just somehow gets through. All right, that is our first clue. Beer, what are we monitoring? What's most important to you as far as we'll dive in and go game by game in a second. We got an hour and 10 minutes to do it before we turn it over to crunch time. We got Taylor and TJ. The Taylors. TJ, I believe, is Taylor J. Zwarych. The Taylor's coming on as well as Kevin Roth for crunch time around 6:15, 6:20, taking you guys up the lock. But what are we monitoring here, Beer? What's the most important piece of information? I guess it's LeBron. That's the biggest one.
No doubt. It's LeBron. I mean, you already got Reeves out, so Russell's going to get a little bit of a bump. If LeBron's out, like you mentioned, the numbers for AD, as bad as he's been, we know he's dealing with this injury. They leap off the page. Dalton Connect becomes a lot more important. Russell gets even more of a boost if LeBron is out. So that's definitely the domino that's, kind of building around both scenarios, ready for that news. But a huge piece of news. Hopefully we get it here soon, but I doubt it, the way things have been going lately.
Yeah. Chop, your thoughts? Anything you want to add? It is a 7:30 game, so we probably get the news before lock, right? Only one game at 7 o'clock, and we'll talk about it, but probably a game you can just skip if you're waiting for news. I don't know how much you need Orlando and Philly. I don't know what time your movie starts, Chop. If you have to have your lineup set, the Rampapil set it and forget it, which is not advisable for basketball. But, we'll talk about Orlando and Philly, but I think that game's kind of I don't want to say a stinker, but, anything can happen. Obviously, Franz Wagner going to put up 70, sure. but that game is not terribly interesting to me. Chop, anybody else we're monitoring as far as the body parts? I think lineups is important too. Like what San Antonio does as far as their lineup is, yet to be seen. We're guessing it's going to be Sohan, but maybe not because Sabonis would really that's a tough cover. That's a really tough cover for Sohan at the 5. You got anything, Chop, before we dive in?
I mean, there's a lot of things are going to matter to your lineup. Chicago, I mean, obviously what Beer said is 100% on point. The Chicago news is going to be big. Yeah, there's a lot. If you're playing on does DraftKings include the Golden State game? I don't
everything.
Know.
Yeah,
they
got them all.
Golden State, that's some big question marks on Golden State too. That could lead you to some things that are kind of that went opposite of
the news, Chop. Golden State, everybody in.
Oh,
Draymond's back. Curry's good to go.
National TV, they're all good to go.
Oh, okay. Well, then we can scratch them off the list. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Beer kind of nailed it. It's just a game by game thing. I don't really look at the macro version of injuries like that.
All right. First, do not expect Kuminga to do what he did last night. The usage will be down. He might not even start this evening with both Draymond and Steph being back. I think we're projecting him not to start. Yeah, we have Curry, Pods, Wiggins, Green, and Looney is our projected Golden State starting lineup. Okay, first game, O-Town, Orlando, and Philly. We just saw this game. 207.5 is the total. That is paltry. The Magic are 3.5-point favorites here. As far as who's in and who's out in this one, body parts, Banchero, obviously he's still out. Jonathan Isaac is questionable. He's got a hamstring. Philadelphia, Drummond is questionable. Embiid is still with that injury management. The bonus out too. It doesn't really matter, but one of their backup bigs. Beer, are you as unenthused about this game as I am? I'm not terribly enthused. Sell me on something if you want.
That's where I'm at on this game. Just not a lot here. I mean, Franz, sure, he's been playing well. He's putting up 40, 50 a night. That price, certainly not ideal, getting near 10K. So not a priority target for me tonight. I'd like to see the minute projection here on Wendell Carter Jr. up at 28, but throw up a dud the other night. I think he could bounce back. So there's okay pieces, but the other Wagner is decent, but nothing that I'm really going out of my way. You mentioned low total, slow pace game. Yabusele on the other side, a guy in cash games, sure, tends to always land in that, 30-point range, get you where you need to go, but not a lot of upside on top of that. So just a tough matchup for Philly. Even a guy like Paul George, I don't want to go to. McCain was good the other night. That was with a lot of pieces out. So just an easy game to kind of scratch off. I think the only reason you go to this game, there shouldn't be a ton of ownership, but even Franz is showing double-digit ownership. So he's not even sneaky here. So pretty much a pass for me. Early builds, I haven't had any. I don't see myself putting anyone in from this game unless you land on that last piece. Okay, but otherwise, I'm mostly an avoid here.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. We're seeing Franz at 15% on DK. Nobody else in double digits. His brother, Moritz Mo, at around 7%. A little bit cluttered there as far as the center stuff. I guess if we lose Isaac, you can bump those guys up incrementally, but still, I'm not going to love it. Drummond is questionable. Maybe, Dancing Bear, Yabusele gets a couple extra, minutes or something like that, but still nothing really making me terribly enthused. Paul George is a fair price, I guess, but like you said, slow pace. Both these teams are in bottom 6 or so in pace, and the Magic were top 5, top 6 defensive team in the league. It doesn't really shape up like anything spectacular. Chop, are you going to sweep the board here with a similar thought, or you want to give us a curveball?
No curveballs. About the only thing you really need to monitor from this game is where is Joel Embiid going to get traded to? That's about it.
What? Is that who?
Wow.
He's not getting traded. Who's trading for him? Why would somebody trade for him?
Oh, you thinking? You went that route, Dean. I didn't. Oh.
Well, would you want to trade for him? Unless you can do it for, even if it's for nothing. Well, it seems like his knees are just shot.
I mean, so the franchises that are desperate to get a superstar player, I know the knees might be shot, but somebody will give up something for him. But I'm just saying, yeah, that's my way of saying this game is a nothing burger.
I mean, that's big news, though, Chop. You're throwing around Joel Embiid trades like Wojnarowski out
It
here.
seems like he's kind of done with Philly. Like
I think
they're done with
him.
They're done with him, and because of that, he's done with them. He's soft and sensitive, and he can't
I'm
handle
more
the
with
boost.
Dean, though. Who's taking him on? Who's?
Do you want to know his contract?
Yeah,
I'll tell you his contract. He's 32, by the way. He's an old.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that.
Oh, wait, is he 30? No, I don't think he's 32 just yet. He's 30 and change, almost 31.
He's 30 in dog years.
But yeah, he's signed in 26, 27, 28. I guess he just signed an extension. 3 years, 192.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah, I'm not trading for that. No, I don't. I mean,
let's put him on your Rockets, Chop. Who are you giving up for him?
Oh man, he can have Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet.
Well,
you would do that?
That's enticing for Philly.
So you play Şengün and Embiid next to each other?
I figure it out. I mean, you just got to get a superstar. They're very hard to come by, and I don't. Yeah, we really went off on a real different path here, Dean.
Well, you're the one that brought it up.
I was just saying, but yeah, I'd take him in a heartbeat because and just hope the knees held up for a couple of years, and you could. But he's still a superstar, and it's hard to come by those guys, man. If you don't have one, it's hard to get them.
Well, I mean, yeah, a team like I don't know Utah, that like nobody, the free agent would never go to, right? I don't want to say Milwaukee, but historically Milwaukee, your Bucks.
I don't want them.
Yeah, but like Charlotte, there's a team that would trade for him probably because no Charlotte. Like remember they signed like Terry Rozier. Like they don't get to sign anybody they want. I guess we'll sign Terry. Terry Rozier didn't want to sign that contract, and Charlotte didn't want to sign him. But they're like, I guess we're sort of stuck with each other. Like Tobias Harris signed with the Pistons again. Sort of like that kind of scenario. Okay, let's move on. Lakers in Atlanta, 7:30, 2 7:30 games. This is one of them. Lakers are 5-point dogs here on the road. We don't know about LeBron, what they're talking about him playing all 82 for the season earlier in the year. Like that doesn't seem likely. We'll see. Davis is officially probable as well. Bronny's in the injury report. He's questionable. Not that matters. It's kind of funny, I suppose. Atlanta is clean. They're good to go. Like Trae Young is probable with his the tendonitis thing as far as his Achilles, but he's been playing through that, except for that one game that was they got fined for in the NBA Cup. But Atlanta, the meaningful guys. There's no Keaton Wallace and Lundy or people like that, but anybody that would be in the rotation is available. Chop. We still have D'Angelo Russell too cheap, specifically on DK. Russell Connect, who's been kind of terrible of late, and if he doesn't make his threes, his floor is woof. It is really, really bad. He's got to make his threes, otherwise it's pretty brutal for him. I don't really know what the Lakers' other options are as far as like benching him. They don't really have a lot of depth. It's the two guys, and they're both seemingly hurt to some degree. Talk to me about the Lakers and the Hawks.
Well, D'Angelo, you said he's still cheap, and he's kind of cheap, but he is 1,000 more than he was the game prior to the last game. He's 1,000 more than that, and he's 500 more than last game. So it's starting to get there. And boy, he really did not do us very kindly in that last game as chalk Russell. But so I don't know, but it's a much better matchup here. So yeah, I guess so. Especially if we get something crazy where guys are sitting out in this game for the Lakers, then he'll obviously be a great play. But yeah, you can go back to Russell. If the superstars end up playing and there's no red flags there, they're all right. This is a good matchup. Connect. Is it Atlanta that gives up all the 3-pointers? I think Atlanta gives up a lot of.
No, I get those two confused because of the red uniform in my head. I do the same thing.
No, the Bulls give up a lot on the inside.
No. You got to reverse that thing. Wait, oh no, you know what? You're right. I got it confused. That's me. That's on me. Continue. You're right.
So if the Atlanta's pervy to giving up a lot of 3-point volume, then maybe that does fall into Dalton Connect's wheelhouse. That is the way he gets there, is by hitting his outside shots. So there's pass there for these Lakers right here. At the Atlanta side, I'm not so sure that I like. The numbers are pulling up a lot of Capella, the optimals. Don't know if I want to go that route. And And other than that, for Atlanta, Trae Young's a tad bit expensive, although a game against the Lakers, he probably, takes on a little bit more himself because he's technically a star player who has the green light, and I guess he'd probably get up for a game against LeBron or something like that. But yeah, I'm not getting much to Atlanta here.
Yeah, no team gives up more points in the paint than the Bulls. No team gives up more made threes than Atlanta. Beer, your thoughts as far as the Lakers and Atlanta? And I'm a little bit concerned with Davis. Like, his points have been terrible of late. His usage has been terrible of late. And, like, they're talking about him dealing with something, just kind of playing through it. He projects well. And, like, if LeBron is out, he would project ridiculously. Way I'm at right now is, like, I like Davis, but I'm probably not playing him. But if LeBron's out, I don't know how I'm not going to play him. I don't know what to do. They might just get shellacked.
I mean, that's a conundrum with Davis. The projections, and you look at some of the if-then projections really jump off the page, but you watch the games and you can see that he's dealing with something that he's not 100%. So which one trumps the other? If LeBron's in, I'm out on Anthony Davis. If he's out, I'm going to make him more of a priority in my lineups tonight. So LeBron, a big domino, but I love this game, Dean. I think there's a lot of great pieces, a lot of it, relating to LeBron, but I do think Connect would be a solid play. Gets over a 7% usage bump without Reeves and LeBron on the floor. We mentioned D'Angelo Russell. Now he's going to be very popular, and we know D'Angelo Russell chalk is not always the best chalk. So that one I'm treading a little bit more lightly on. Hawks side, I think there's a few pieces. I really like Jalen Johnson in the spot. Lakers have struggled with power forwards, bottom 3 in fantasy points allowed. Capella, I really like. Chop kind of poo-pooed him. I get why with the split there, but rebounds. He's been killing it on the boards. Lakers have struggled against rebounds for big. So that's one of my favorite props as well tonight. Capella over 10.5 rebounds. And even DeAndre Hunter been playing well, 30 or more in 3 of his last 5. So this is one you could stack up. There's pieces at each different price point, but I do really like Capella. And I think Connect, a lot of people are going to avoid him. If LeBron's out, they're going to need some offense. I think he can bounce back here in this matchup.
I was just thinking, like, could Connect, like, could he create his own offense? Or does he need somebody like LeBron to throw him an open 3? That's sort of my issue with him.
He can, but based what I saw at Tennessee, but we haven't seen a lot of that with the Lakers. It's a lot of screens, pop outs, a lot of the threes, and not much creativity or going to the basket. So that is a concern when you're talking about a scorer only. He's got to hit them shots. Like you said earlier, you're dead in the water. So definitely risky, but that price point, he can get hot. We've seen some massive games out of him where he can get you 8, 9, 10X, especially in this spot. We mentioned the threes. That's his bread and butter. So again, that's a LeBron's out play only. I'm not going to Connect if he's in, but I think he's a good value if he is out.
Do want to pull up the ownership stuff. Let's see what we have here as far as the Lakers and Atlanta. Obviously, this stuff can change. 38% for Russell. And I feel like I repeat myself a lot in this one, but I remember pointing this out last game, and I didn't follow my own advice, but, like, I have that general rule, if a scorer, like somebody that's really reliant on scoring, is going to be super popular, maybe pump the brakes a little bit, especially when it's from outside. You got to score from outside. You got to make a bunch of threes. And, we saw Russell fall on his face. It was also a blowout too. But, if he's going to be 40%, and like Chop said, that still a good, dollar for dollar play, but obviously he wasn't like the lock and load that he was at 4-4. He's 5-4 now in DK. I think he's 6K on FanDuel. You don't get the 3-point bonus either. So not as good of a play over there in FanDuel. Of course, you can play him. But 39% on DK. Capella, kind of surprised to see him at 25%. I think it's fine, but not my favorite play. I'm okay if I'm making a little game stack. I'm not going to run away from it. Always just annoying the Kungwu stuff, right? You never really know how that split's going to go amongst those 48 minutes. LeBron, 21%. Looking at the usage stuff of Davis, the last, so many games. Last game, 22%, 24 prior. Now 34 versus Utah, but then 16% usage for Anthony Davis. Like, when does that ever happen? Against OKC, 20 versus San Antonio. And the points scored, like 3 for 14, 4 for 14. He had 8 points in the bucket, 12 points the previous game. I don't want to freak out over small sample sizes, but he's dealing with a foot thing. He's had some injuries throughout this year. Of course, his history as well. I don't know. It's
I mean, the other side of that, he gets 10% usage bump without LeBron and Reeves.
Yeah.
So that is a massive number. So again, it's what are you waiting? The projections, the usage bump, everything looks good, or the reality of he's hurt and not at 100%. So it's definitely a tough play tonight.
Anything else as far as the Lakers and Atlanta? I think we're moving on. We're good, boys.
Moving on.
We better be moving on to clue number 2 here.
You're not going to believe it, but nobody guessed. Nobody binked it. There was no hole in one. Oz did not get them there. Philly says Red 1. Peterman says The Rock. Let's see. It was not Lord of the Rings. The second clue. This might change things, though. Second clue. We'll go ahead and drop for the people. Second clue is divorce. Divorce. Oz and divorce. Those are our first two. And it's not, I know Jay Brunton's banking on one of these days. It's going to be Leprechaun in the Hood 2, which I didn't know. I don't think they made a sequel to Leprechaun in the Hood. I'm pretty certain. Maybe direct to DVD or something. Or direct to VHS. I don't know if that movie exists. But it's not any of the Leprechauns. I'll give that out there. It's none of the Leprechaun movies. All right. Let's move on to the ESPN game. Chop, did you have a lean? Does that help you out?
He's thinking hard over there, man.
Let me know in the private chat if you know. Don't tell the people.
Oh, don't tell the people?
Yeah, don't tell.
Okay, I'll guess in the private chat, but man, it's not going to be obviously not going to be correct.
You might get there. You never know. Milwaukee. Speaking of Leprechaun, Boston. The Celtics 227. Boston at home tonight on ESPN. They're 8-9 point favorites here versus the Bucks. We are expecting Chris Middleton to make his season debut. Otherwise, nothing really. Oh, Tareem Prince. Tareem Prince is he's ill. He had the fish. Don't have whatever Tareem Prince had. It's seafood night, Top. Whatever he ordered, don't order what he ordered because otherwise you might be dicey for tomorrow. Al Horford, good to go. This is the front half of a back-to-back for Boston, so I assume we don't. It's DFS. We care about tonight only. But Horford, spoiler, probably out tomorrow. Porzingis out tonight, probably playing tomorrow. Tatum is good to go. Otherwise, we are clean. Chop It is not Marriage Story. But that was a good movie. That was good. I watched. Do you want a fun fact? Not a fun fact, but it's a fact. I watched Marriage Story the day I went to Britt's wedding, which, by the way, a terrible movie. If you're watching, do not watch that movie in the day. If you're going to somebody's wedding.
I thought you were going to say something else.
That's what I was going to say. It's a terrible wedding.
Oh, no. It was a beautiful wedding. Britt had a beautiful wedding. It was at Disney. I used shocker. I know. It was, or was it Epcot? It was at Disney, and I think Epcot was we went the previous night. It was nice. It was lovely. Shout out to Britt if he's out there. But it's not an advisable movie to watch if you're going to a wedding. It's not a good omen, I guess. Okay, Bucks, Celtics, beer. Talk to me about Milwaukee.
I'm interested to see what it looks like with Middleton. I'm not expecting many minutes at all. They're going to ease him in, so not a play for me tonight. But how does it affect everything else? Giannis, you can always play. He's getting expensive. He's played well against Boston this year, but that price tag, you're going to have to find some serious volume. So not seeking that one out. Not a lot I like on the Milwaukee side tonight, Dean. Shocker. I'm more on the Boston side of things. Really like Tatum in the spot. Hasn't played great against the Bucks this season, but I think he could bounce back. And then some value, that kind of mid-range guys. Drew Holiday looks good in this spot. And Peyton Pritchard been on a nice little roll here, playing some big minutes, scoring the basketball. 5 straight games at 33 or more. DraftKings points, that's another prop I like. His points prop is at 13.5 tonight. So more of the value, the mid-range here, and Drew Holiday and Peyton Pritchard. I don't mind Tatum. The Bucks mostly avoiding in this spot against Boston.
Yeah, the Bucks sort of feel like Giannis or bust. It's his birthday today, by the way, Giannis. So shout out to Giannis.
There you go.
29? How old is Giannis? Is that what we're going to guess? You guys know? I'm going to say 29.
Sounds about right.
Chop over under?
Giannis?
Yeah.
He's probably 31.
30. Middle it. He's 30 today. So shout out to Giannis, born December 6th, 1994. You're going to get him low owned. He's single digits, Are we interested, Chop?
And who?
Giannis, birthday boy.
Oh, sure. Always got to be interested. He's capable of, breaking the whole slate. I mean, most of the time he's not going to do it, but sometimes he will. You got to be interested in it. But I'm really not getting to too much of Milwaukee side of it. There's a little bit of interest in the Boston side. Tatum is fine. Tatum or Brown, one or the other. And then maybe one of their accessory players, But I think that the most interesting thing in this game to me is the Chris Middleton unders on the prop sites. Like, I'll take a chance on him really just coming back and just playing a handful of minutes and not getting very many counting stats. And
do you have a number? Because we're projecting 17 minutes. Is there a number that's out there? I haven't looked. I like the idea, but
no,
just the market hasn't adjusted.
I'll dig around, see if we can. I didn't see any earlier.
I mean, I put one in. I put one in earlier, and it was a really nice. It wasn't nice. It was like 16 points, rebounds, and assists. I think it was something like that. Like, just in case he comes out there and he can't play too many minutes tonight. The guy's freaking made of glass. His first game back, so I just took a chance on some of those unders like that. But
what was the rumor? Didn't somebody throw out an insider or whatever say he's afraid to play? Did you guys hear this?
No, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't. Who knows how real it was, but supposedly there was somebody throwing out there was afraid to come back, or he's coming back on national TV, which is in Boston, not the friendliest spot to come back. Yeah, we're not expecting a ton out of him, and we're not even. We are projecting him to start for what it's worth, but they have a really, really quick hook for him, as Beer was talking about. Maybe 4-minute stints, 4 minutes of 4 or something like that.
Only prop I saw on FanDuel's points are at 8.5, and the under is juiced.
Yeah.
Nothing in the PRA department.
You know what? We have our tools here. I'm curious what we're projecting it for. We're projecting him for 7.67 points, and that's less than 9.5. I just did that math on the fly.
8.5. So you're close.
It's less than 8.5. It's still less.
It still is. It's close though. I like to see a little bit wider spread than just one. So that's the problem. Do they want to go out and get him a couple shots? And he makes a couple of those mid-range jumpers, and he crushes that number even in 17 minutes. So I would rather, if you could find what Chop mentioned, some of the PRA stuff where, is he going to do all the other things besides a few jumpers? That's the question. Is he going to want to get in there and get the rebound? So in a void for me, I don't mind that under call.
The chat saying I'm spreading fake news. So I don't know if that's real or it's not. I'm not passing that off as real, to be fair. I remember hearing a rumbling of that, somebody reported, or I don't know if it was a reputable person or not, but I just remember that kind of stuck in my head when you're talking about Middleton. It's there's speculate, because supposedly he could have played a month ago. I think even Doc Rivers said, what was the quote? If it was a playoff game, he'd be playing a month ago, right? So look, I don't know, but do with that what you will. Oh, Doc Rivers revenge game. There you go. Did you give your take here, Beer, as far as Milwaukee and Boston? Did you give the Boston side? I apologize.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Bouncing back and forth. Chop, your guess. I don't want to say anything about your guess, but just don't speak of that guess, because that could be helpful for some people and possibly yourself. You're not correct, but that could be something to build on. It could be something to build on. All right.
So would you say I'm getting warmer?
Well, certainly warmer from Marriage Story. Yeah. Okay. And Beer's he's it's not rollover, Beer. You only get one guess per clue. Feel free.
I got nothing. I can't guess when I got nothing.
All right. And the chats, is anybody it's not Shawshank, it's not Independence Day or the Wolf of Wall Street. It's not A Star Is Born, according to Coach Wilcox. It's not Split. All right. Maybe we get to another. But if you don't know, if you join late, jump in the Discord channel and give me the guess. Tell me what movie we're talking about. Scroll in there in the bottom. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. The Discord channel, it's free. Most of our Discord channels are free. This one, of course, is the live stream chat channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat. Okay, next game, 8 o'clock. Sacramento, Spurs, 229 is the total. Spurs are playing the back half of a back-to-back. There is going to be no Wemby. I shouldn't say officially, but he's officially doubtful. He did not play last night. I'm assuming he's not playing tonight. Devin Vassell, injury, yada, yada. He's out. He played too much last night. He's still coming back from his injury stuff. Sacramento is fully healthy with the exception of Trey Lyles. We are projecting Chris Paul, Castle, Champagne, Harry Barnes revenge game, and Jeremy Sohan at the 5. And you got to put somebody in there, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's Collins because of the size on the other side. And Sabonis, Beer, Kings, Spurs. What do you got?
More the Spurs side for me here. I think there's some good value. Obviously, you take Wemby, you take Vassell out of that lineup. They're going to need some offense. So, again, at a variety of price points, Sohan has looked good, has been playing solid minutes, going to contribute across the entire stat sheet. So he's interesting. Keldon Johnson, we finally saw a big game out of him the other night. So he's got the ability to provide offense. Castle has shown he can put some big games on the board. And then Collins and Bassey are interesting. They're you never know what you're going to get out of these guys. I would prefer Collins. Bassey is a little bit cheaper. But those guys, Sohan, Keldon Johnson, going to just mix them in 2 lineups. Again, not priority targets, but they need offense from somewhere. I think Keldon Johnson can help provide that along with Castle. So Sacramento, you can make a case for any of these guys. I mean, Sabonis is always a triple-double guy. Fox has been incredible. DeRozan, I think, is too cheap right now. He's probably my favorite out of those 3. A little revenge narrative here for him. So I'm fine with any of those 3. I like the price on DeRozan tonight.
Chop, your thoughts? Chop, as far as who's going to start? I think Sohan starts some way. I'm not sure if he starts at the 5. By the way, shout out to Sohan. I appreciate the green hair. Anybody that stands out distinctly, because I'm watching multiple games at once, and you always know oh, that was Sohan. You always know, okay, that's the guy. Yeah, guy with the green hair. Yeah, he scored. Okay, now I know I got my points there. Sometimes if you're watching multiple screens, you can't quite figure out. You're not sure. You're not certain who scored, but do appreciate that from Sohan. Back in the day, remember Rodman on the Spurs had something about San Antonio with the green hair. His is even greener, fluorescent. But Chop, what do you got? Spurs and Kings.
Yeah, I mean, if they started him last night and he played 36 minutes, I kind of think maybe, and that was against Vooch, and you knew everybody could tell he was going to struggle in that matchup defensively.
Vooch worked him.
Why wouldn't they start him again, against a guy who is probably a little bit lesser of a post-up threat? I mean, I know Sabonis is a good all-around game, but probably a little bit less of a post-up threat. So I don't know. I probably think they used the same starting lineup.
Okay.
But I don't know, man. I'm kind of all over I do like Castle. Not only do I like Castle in this game, but, man, I kind of wish we would have used that number 3 pick on Castle, man. He's a really good player. He's not going to be a superstar in this league, but he's just a really solid player. So I think you could play Keldon Johnson here. Those 2 price tags, Castle and Johnson, very cheap. On the Sacramento side, I like the DeRozan call. If we do get word that that's the small starting lineup for the Spurs, Sabonis will put up a double-double by halftime, so you can go that route. That's pretty good. So there's definitely pieces in this game, and they're cheap too.
Yeah, no Wemby for Sabonis to deal with obviously helps. The length down there that if it's going to be Sohan on Sabonis, he's going to destroy him. So I do like the Sabonis call. Somebody asked about ownership. Not bad. It looks like mid-teens for Sabonis tonight.
Yeah, people aren't playing that angle like last night. When we were on the show and they said, oh, man, this is the Spurs starting lineup and it's small. And Dean said they're going to Vooch is going to, work him over. Man, I should have thrown in some props.
We almost got there. We almost got there, Chop. I was very, very, very close to having a nice night. It was a fun night. It was a good night. We did good.
The problem for me was
almost got there.
I only played on FanDuel, and you can only play one center-only guy. And so I was kind of locked on Şengün, and I just couldn't get away from it. And the projections were telling me not to get away from it. Don't worry about the Vooch thing. And it bit me. It got me, obviously. But I won't make that mistake again tonight. If they come out with a small lineup, Sabonis will be a lock and load.
I feel the same way. Sabonis is fine right now. And if it's Sohan at the 5, and then, he'll cross and see. He'll see some bigs along the way throughout the game. But starting on Sohan, he's such a bruiser inside, just a banger on the glass. He might get, 15 rebounds plus. I mean, I would bet Well, the number is probably like 11.5. It's
It's
probably
up. No, he's up at 12.5, 13
Okay.
and a half. That's
Too
what
high.
I looked at, and it's
Yeah.
13 and a half. That's a big number.
You still might get that, but that's
Oh,
a
yeah,
big
for
number to
sure.
lay. It's definitely a big number to lay. Yeah, we're seeing someone at 43%. And again, that's under the assumption he's going to start and play 33 minutes. And I think he starts either way, whether at the 5 or the 4 or whatever. Chop, can Chris Paul play 30 minutes on the back half of back-to-back? We're giving 30 to him. He can play 30 back half, I guess.
Man, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he could, but
Yeah.
how effective would he be? You know, I have a hard time clicking that button if he has plenty of rest these days. I certainly don't want to do it on the back end of a back-to-back.
I agree. I haven't played a whole lot of Chris Paul this year.
Monk is tough, too, at 7-3.
Yeah.
I know he's starting now and getting more minutes. Or 7-3 FanDuel, 7K DK. You know, the usage takes a hit when he starts with the starters, but he's going to play a few extra minutes. Is there meat in that bone, Beer, or it's just, you know, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, he's got upside, but that price is certainly not, you know, I would much rather play DeRozan in that same price point than pay almost the same price for Malik Monk. And like you mentioned, when he's on the second unit, more usage, more offense, more upside. Now he's the fourth fiddle. Like, to pay $7K for that just doesn't make sense to me.
We got Finger for Fun in chat. Shout out to the chat. Did we hit the like button? Yeah, please, kindly hit that like button. Do subscribe. Turn on those notifications so you know we go live. Finger for Fun says, cut the crap. Point your finger to the best play in the slate. I mean, should we verbalize that or just point? Because I don't know. Point. I'm going to point. I'm pointing right now.
Point. Me too.
I don't. Does that help?
Hey, I love it. I love right to let's get to the point. But we got a show to do, so we'll get to it. We're slowly working our way there. He just comes in and hey, give me the best play. I mean, I like the aggressiveness, but we got to pump the brakes a little bit.
I think it was done in a playful way. I didn't take it.
I know. I'm messing.
I think. Chop, you disappeared for a second. Now you're back.
I'm back. I'm back, bro. I hit the wrong button.
He was pointing at his favorite play on the slate.
I pointed. I said,
button.
I pointed at the guy. He's going to score 80 DK points tonight, but
Nice.
my camera went out. My camera went out just at the wrong time.
Missed it.
Yeah, you missed the point.
I think it's actually a good segue because I think my favorite play is in this next game. But before we drop the next game and our favorite plays in the next game, or at least mine, the Pacers and the Bulls, we should point our finger at clue number 3 because nobody's got it just yet as far as today's Film Friday. Oz, divorce, clue number 3. This could change things. This could flip the game on its head. It's Carnival. Carnivals is the next clue. Carnival. Oz, divorce.
Did you? No,
Stop, don't
no. But I wanna clarify. You said carnival, but then you also threw in carnivals plural. Now, which one is it? What's the clue? Carnival?
It's scrolling at the bottom. There's no S. If I made it plural, okay. My bad. It's singular.
Okay. That might matter. That might matter.
It may or may not matter. But for clarification, it is singular. So there you go. Clues are Oz, divorce, and carnival.
I'm typing my guess in the chat right now. Don't know how to spell it, but I'm going to give this a shot. I don't know. Come on, Dean, give it to me.
I mean, it's funny. You're there's something about that guess that's like you're in the mix. It's not close, but there's something about that guess. You're on the right path, but you're not even close, if that makes any sense. It'll all make sense when you know what it is. But
well, that doesn't do me anything. Okay.
I'm just throwing something in here because I got to use my guesses here. I've been on the sidelines. This is not even close, but we'll throw something in there.
Beer, you're on the right track too. It's not that, but that you interpreted that somewhat correctly.
Okay.
You interpreted that clue somewhat correctly. So yeah, we're probably going to get a winner at some point. It's not Field of Dreams being thrown out in the Discord channel. It's not First Wives Club. That's what Philly Lakers thrown out there. It's not Zombieland either. It's not The Greatest Showman being suggested in the Discord. But what we do have is a super appealing 247.5 total. It's the Pacers. It's the Bulls. High and tight. High and tight is a gets, basically. Pacers are 3-point favorites here on the road in Chicago. We love playing in Chicago. Chicago plays the league's fastest pace. They get mauled on the inside, gives the most points in the bucket from the inside. As far as the body parts and who's in and who's out, well, a little bit dicey because we have Giddey officially in. Levine is in. They're probable, I should say. Lonzo is questionable, and Buzelis. He was on my best team last night, and I know nobody else cared, but he took an elbow to the nose. He's got a nose. He's questionable. And he lost the last 2 minutes of that game, and I could have really, really used a couple extra points from Buzelis, but it's not about me. It's tonight, and that's all we care about. He's questionable with his nose. Of course, Nembhard is questionable. Naismith is out. Shepard's out. Jackson's out. Wiseman, the big men for Indiana, they've been out basically all season long. Here, this is my favorite game on the board. Is it your favorite game? Are you as excited about Pacers Bulls on a Friday night?
Yeah, you got to be. I mean, this Bulls defense is that bad where you can pretty much target anybody here on the Pacers. Dean, I know you're a big fan of Tyrese Halliburton, so I don't want to steal your thunder there, but great spot for him, obviously, here in this one. There's value in this one. I think Obi Toppin is going to continue to play right around that 20, 22 minutes, and he's getting it done with those minutes, a guy that can produce very, very quickly. So, unfortunately, showing more ownership than I would like with Obi Toppin. So we'll see if some of that changes as we get news here. But he's intriguing in that one. There's a lot of ways that you can go. And even the Bulls side, does Kobe White play? We know Williams is out. Desanmu put up almost 70 the other night. So showed some massive upside. Levine's always an option. Vooch, Turner. This is one you could stack. This is one I would say you must have. I don't say must have, but I would highly suggest that you have a couple pieces from this game, as it's just too much fantasy goodness here. So I love the Halliburton call, though. I think this is a good spot for him to potentially go for a triple-double.
You made me laugh. I guess I'm thinking about too much about movies because you said Turner and Vooch, and it reminded me of my favorites.
Is that it? Turner and Hooch? Have I been missing out here?
It's not Turner and Hooch. That's where my brain went. I'm like, oh yeah, Turner and Hooch. I remember that movie. I do like Halliburton. I wrote him up. I got him tagged in the lineup HQ. He's been better on the road for what it's worth. I'm not necessarily frightened of that. He's awesome in transition. The Bulls, certainly a team that plays in a lot of transition. Bulls give up either the most assists in all of basketball, the second most assists in all of basketball. Halliburton, 6th most assists on the season. I believe it's like 8.6 per. He's also like the best 3-point shooter. I shouldn't say the best. The most frequent 3-point shooter for Indiana. He's not their best. He's shooting like 33% or something like that in the season, but he probably makes 3 or 4. Well, I shouldn't say probably, but he's going to get up, a fair bit of threes. Not sure if they're going to go in or not. Not the best 3-point shooter, but he'll take them. He'll take them. Chop, Pacers, Bulls. Are you also excited about Pacers, Bulls?
Yeah, I mean, it's the best game on the board, period. Yeah, I like it all. All right, so there's a lot to unpack. Vooch, solid play. Jalen Smith, salary saver, 3,300. I think that if you want to go double superstar lineup and you need a guy who's under 3,500, I think you could do worse than jamming somebody from this game who's really cheap in there who's going to do something. So Jalen Smith. The question marks, I haven't seen any updates on that, but that could make a big difference there with Kobe White and some of the other guys.
We got nothing right now. Yeah.
We got nothing right now, but if that were to break our way, then yeah, we'd really have some good plays in this game on that side of the ball. On the other side, everybody, like all the Indiana guys are just, take your pick, man. Halliburton's good for his price range, 8,300. That's a good one. More salary saving. Obi Toppin, boom. Like this is his style of game, man. He should thrive in this kind of game. Has he played these guys this year? Let me double check for that, Dean, but no, he hadn't played them this year.
I don't think they've played yet.
Yeah, they haven't played.
I was looking at that as well. I was curious.
So we don't know. But, I mean, on paper, this is the kind of game he should thrive in. So Obi Toppin is probably my favorite salary saver on the board. Siakam is awesome also.
What about T.J. McConnell? Timothy John, or you see him on screen?
He's 4,700. He's a good play, too. We know they struggle on the inside. That's I like Siakam more on the inside than Miles Turner even, but Miles Turner's a good play too, and he can destroy Vooch in the paint. And the guy who probably, I don't know what the ownership isn't as high on him as some of the other guys in this game, but Benedict Mathurin, this is his style of game too. Yeah. And he's a really good player.
He's 6'8" now, which is my one apprehension. You can pay it off, but I wish he was a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, I'm just, we're chasing upside here in a tournament. And so that's That's kind of a good upside play just because he's got that kind of game that could really flourish in this environment. So thoughts on Branham? No, I'm not. I don't think I'm taking a chance on that. There's other shooters out there tonight that I'd rather roster who guys who have to hit their outside shots to get there. Brandon, I think there's better options than Malachi Branham. So I'm not
in on that. Is he even going to play? I don't. Yeah. I don't know. That's not something I'm interested in.
Siakam, it's very intriguing at this ownership. 7% we're showing right now. Even Turner at 10. These guys seem under-owned tonight, so I like Siakam here.
I mean, this is the kind of matchup where he doesn't have to sit out there and shoot his three-pointers all night long and hope they fall. He can actually destroy this team on the inside, which is what he needs to do more of. So, yeah, a lot of these guys are built for this kind of matchup. I'm really interested. Maybe we just go to the bookmaker and just put in over the team total on Indiana here and just pay our rent this month.
That's 126, a big number.
Hey, man, these guys these days play these games like they're all-star games, man. Like, there's no defense anymore.
Chop, you're not renting. I know it's a saying. I feel I don't know this.
Dean, with all due respect to everybody out there, let this be a little life lesson for you. No matter if you pay off your house in one lump sum, you're still renting, brother. The state government comes for their taxes every year. You'd be shocked at how much you have to pay for that. The HOA comes for their fees every month. You're always just renting, Dean, no matter what.
Sure. Yeah. I'm just my brain. I'm like, I don't think Chop is but Branham is, I know it's a different game, but you brought it up. He's projected to play 9 minutes. Like, that does not seem like a necessary thing on this slate. Turner, not really a traditional center, right? Only 40% of his points come from the paint. He's got a career high this season as far as 3-pointers made or attempted or both. I was looking at that earlier today, and he's still fine. He can work on inside if he needs to work on inside. But I like all these guys. I like everybody. I'm probably going to have – can I have 5 or 6 players in this game, Beer? How big can my stack get for an Indiana, Chicago? And you can do it because some of the pieces are really cheap and still get decent stuff around it. I was talking about it last night with the Bulls in San Antonio. Not exactly the same thing because Halliburton's more, in San Antonio, I think their most expensive player last night was $6K. So I had some stacks with 5 or 6 players. But I think I would have probably at least 2 and 2, I think. But the Indiana side looks better. Chicago can improve if we lose Kobe White and Lonzo to a lesser degree. Dosunmu, of course, first career triple-double last night, absolutely smashed. I wouldn't expect the same thing, but it was cool to see him flash that ceiling. Beer, is that something I can do?
I think that's fine. 3, 4, 5. I mean, we're talking about a total near 250, a close spread. This has a chance to go to overtime. I think there's going to be a lot of fantasy points to spread around here. So no issues with that at all. And the prices, I mean, it's easy to, like I said, get a stack of this game and still end up on some nice pieces and not play Malachi Branham.
Well, I don't want to play Malachi Branham under any circumstances.
That's what I'm saying. You don't have to do that. That's the point. It's there. You have more money to spend and still build.
We have 2 more games to go. That is the first half, right? That's the first 5 games. Minnesota, Golden State starts 10 o'clock. Utah, Portland starts 10 o'clock. So again, the slate's kind of split in half, sort of a doubleheader. We have clue number 4. Nobody's officially guessed it just yet.
Let's go get it. What is it?
Oz Divorce Carnival Drag. Clue number 4 is drag.
I'm putting my guess in the chat right now.
All right. You feel confident?
But I mean, if you're saying I'm on the right path, I'm this and that, the drag's got to be it, right?
Chop, you know what? You nailed it. You got it.
Boom! I got it.
Don't tell the people, but yes. Because you see why I say you're on the right path. You can see why, not exactly, but yes. Yep. Yeah. Look at you, Chopper. You win you win the home version of this game.
Look at the big brain on Brad.
What does the home version get you?
Give me your address and we'll see what shows up.
No thanks. I'll skip the prize.
I would never give you his address. But wow, look at the Chopper. And I don't think anybody. Let's see. Does anybody have it? in the Discord channel. Not just yet. So you can get there. This is proof of, people say, oh, the clues are impossible and nobody can get it. We're right here. That job.
I was not getting there.
Yeah.
Dean, how do you tell me that my guess is on the right path? So now I'm thinking of.
I'll tell you. You probably don't realize it, but like I'll explain it to you afterwards, and it'll make sense. But there you go. Clue number 4 has just dropped. It is not Adventureland or American Graffiti or the Bird. TJ is guessing the Birdcage. TJ's playing along. He'll be jumping in about 15, 20 minutes or so. Several people are guessing the Birdcage. And Mrs. Doubtfire. Is there a Robin Williams reference here that I'm not aware of? Is that makes people think it's going to be Robin Williams involved? But it's not White Chicks either. But okay, we'll have one more clue dropping in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and knock out the next game, the 10 o'clock game. And I don't really, I think this slate is kind of the haves and have-nots. Of course, anything can happen, but I don't really like this game, boys. Feel free to tell me otherwise. Minnesota at Golden State, second half of the ESPN doubleheader, 219.5 is the total. Golden State is a 1-point home dog here. They are getting Steph Curry back. They are getting Draymond back, meaning they are fully healthy. I don't know if they're going to continue with their 12-man, 13-man nonsense rotation, but, certainly guys like Kuminga, who was great last night, get squeezed to some degree. Cannot assume he's going to repeat last night's performance. As far as Minnesota, they are clean with the exception of Dillingham and Joe Ingles, a bunch of dudes that don't really matter. Chop, how do we feel about the T-Wolves and the Warriors? Because stud-wise, I usually don't get to Curry. I usually don't get to Edwards. And I'm not getting to him tonight.
Yeah, I don't not a huge fan of the Warrior side of it tonight. That's for sure. With guys coming back. Maybe on the T-Wolves, maybe Rudy Gobert. And I only say that, Dean, number one, because Golden State can be rather weak on the inside. So maybe Gobert. But there's a lot of bad blood here between Gobert and Draymond. So we got that aspect of it. I don't think I want to go Draymond at 6,900, but Rudy at 66, projecting pretty nicely. Maybe that's a path. And the matchup is not bad. So he's about the best thing in this game I see. You can always go with Anthony Edwards. I don't want to say Julius. You could go Julius Randle, 7,300, but
it's got a pretty good price, Randle. But yeah.
Rudy Gobert is probably the guy I would be most likely to play in this game. And the rest of it is not so great.
Beer?
Same boat. My first question, how the hell is Draymond Green 6,900? That price, I don't understand that one at all. But
you get 10 points for nut shots, I guess.
Yeah,
DK new scoring.
And probably going to get ejected. There's going to be some kind of, tassel between these two that something happens. So him being back kind of ruins Looney. Was a decent value. Looney's a tough pull tonight. There's so many good center plays, a little bit more expensive. There's a couple we haven't even talked about yet. Talked about Capella, Voot. There's just so many ways you can go. I don't think Looney's a necessity. I don't mind the Gobert call. I'll play some Steph Curry just for the upside. It's a tough matchup with Minnesota, but he's always going to be in my player pool. Minnesota, not a ton of interest. Anthony Edwards is fine. Gobert's a decent price, like we mentioned, but not a lot in this game. I just think there's much better spots here. So mostly an avoid for me.
We have 15% for Looney, which is kind of surprising, right?
That's way too high.
I'm not excited about that. I guess they need some of his size here, I suppose, but I don't know. I don't like it. Conley is like always going to give you 25 fantasy points, no more, no less, right? And Gobert's at 12%, Randall at 12%, Edwards at 12, at 12. It's just this whole game. I don't think I'm playing anybody this game. We'll see, but I don't expect to. This is the one I'm actually afraid of. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and knock out clue number 5 because we do have crunch time coming in 15, 20 minutes or so. Maybe we'll have some time for some questions as well. We'll have to explain. TJ is guessing it's Ace Ventura. Petategative is not. Also, TJ, I believe, is breaking the rules. And he's
multi-entering.
Yeah, he's MMing. This is not bracket. You can only enter one time per clue drop.
TJ.
Breaking the rules and still getting it wrong.
He's using my I'll give him my couple guesses I didn't submit for the first few clues. So he's all right. We'll borrow him a few of mine.
Clue number 5. I do have an emergency clue, by the way, that I think I thought it was too easy. I think it's too easy. That maybe we'll need to pull.
Look at Chop just kicking back now, man. He was all like intense and thinking.
Cool,
Now
I got it.
I already got it, man.
He's got the glow still. He's got like a sheen to him, right,
brother.
now.
This is like you know what, man. I'm nice and relaxed now, brother. I ain't got.
You're rolling into Friday night on a heater.
Yeah.
Some movies lined up, some seafood. Already won the home version of the game. It's a good night for you.
I think somebody gets it here, but we'll see. We have an emergency clue if necessary. Clue number 5 is rubbing. Rubbing is clue number 5. Oz, divorce, carnival, drag, and rubbing. That is our 5th clue for the game. Okay. They're telling TJ to stop spamming in the Discord channel. Let's see if somebody goes ahead and knocks this out. We have an emergency clue if necessary. But let's talk about the last game. I was going to say hammer game, but they're at the same time, right? Minnesota, Golden State, both 10 o'clock. This is the one. Did news just drop? Is LeBron out or something?
No.
What?
But I'll say this, Dean. That last clue, I know the answer. I got it. And that clue would not have helped me one bit.
Really?
No, I don't know why it didn't. But
you've seen the movie, right?
Take a look at the YouTube.
Yeah, I see some YouTube chats that are.
Well, I mean, look, guesses in the YouTube are not official.
They're
not official. Okay. That's the one rule we have. Well, we have 2 rules. You can talk about it all you want. So that's not a rule. You can talk about this game all you want. But YouTube guesses do not qualify. They don't count. And the second rule is the one TJ broke. You cannot spam the Discord. You can only guess one time per clue. So there you go. So if somebody wants to take, we do have a winner. We do have a winner now in the Discord. I don't know if it was the same person, but there you go. Well, we'll talk about it in a second. Let's knock out this game first, though. The one I am afraid of not having enough of is Utah and Portland. 2 kind of ugly teams, but 2 teams that certainly have some players that can get there. 225 is the total. Portland is a home favorite by 2.5 points. How often we say that? Portland's a home favorite. It feels like that doesn't happen terribly often. Injury report for these teams. Pulling it up now. Utah, no Jordan Clarkson. Filipowski got sent to the G League. Sexton is available with his finger. And Cody Williams, he's on G League assignment as well. Scoot is the one question mark for Portland. He's currently questionable. Of course, Klingon, the big rookie, is he's out with his knee. Robert Williams, I hope he's okay. This is like the longest concussion protocol I've seen for a while. Hopefully he's going to be all right. But, he's been out for like 5 games or so, it feels like, with this concussion. Beer, I'm a little bit afraid of not having enough of this game, or maybe any. I'm not sure what I'll do, but I like some pieces. But this is the game I'm most afraid of not having. Tell me, am I wrong? Should I be fearful?
You're not wrong. You should be fearful. It's 2 bad teams, and we know what that can lead to in fantasy. I think there's a lot of pieces in this game. My favorites are the centers on both sides. I mean, DeAndre Ayton gets a good matchup. There is no Williams. There is no Klingon. His minutes are trending up. I'd like to see a little bit more rebounding out of him. This matchup could bring that out of him. Utah's been getting destroyed by bigs this season. So he stands out, and Walker Kessler on the other side, really playing some good basketball, finally getting him in the rotation. And this guy just continues to produce night in and night out. So he's a guy like his points prop. But this was one of those you shop around, and I'm talking on FanDuel. So I was looking earlier, looking at some Kessler numbers. To score 10 plus points, minus 140. Now, this may have changed. This was a couple hours ago. But for over 10.5, he was plus 100. So how is 10 plus minus 140? Over 10.5 is plus odds. It's basically the same thing.
On the same site? So, is this on FanDuel?
Yes, both on FanDuel. So,
I see that too. Yeah.
And sometimes it's the opposite. So always check when you're doing over-unders, check to score 20 plus, whatever it is. Even in football, sometimes those lines don't adjust for the same exact line. So point being, like Ayton, really like Kessler tonight. A lot of other pieces in this game. George has some upside. Shaedon Sharpe, a guy like on the other side. I would help with Scoot Henderson out to clear things a little bit more. Then maybe a Kamara enters the equation, things like that. But yes, Dean, I think it's not the Bulls and the Pacers, but this is certainly a good environment and one you're going to want to have exposure to.
Portland gives up the third most opponent total rebounds.
Yep.
They're also top 5 in both getting blocked and getting stolen. So Kessler's my favorite play from this game. I did bet his stocks over on that. I think it was over 3.5. I did take that bet because it just feels like a good spot for him. A good spot. It's hard to predict. There's variance, of course, when it comes to steals and blocks, but it is a good steals and block spot. Chop, how do you feel about Utah and Portland?
Yeah, I kind of agree with a lot of that. The one thing I'll say, DeAndre Ayton, Beer said he needs to rebound more. He's just really been struggling with the rebounding aspect of his game, so that's a little rough for him. But he can certainly put up the points, the raw points. And Simons, don't mind Simons. I mean, Simons, Grant, and Ayton are all really cheap. You got that going for you. Walker Kessler's cheap. Keontae George is cheap. Lauri Markkanen's seen a price drop. I think the game is, with the way the price tags are set up here, I think this game is more suited to just stack the heck out of the late night hammer and, play your superstars as one-offs in other games before this, and then just stack the heck out of this game. The prices are too cheap here.
Got some news. LeBron is in. LeBron James is playing basketball tonight. Middleton, unlikely to start. So if you like the unders before,
those props are looking better.
I mean, he's still probably going to play 15 minutes, right? Either way, he would have had like 4-minute burst or something. And no update on Prince. Prince is still questionable.
Prince, yeah. Dean, I'll tell you what, Dean. I was one pick away last night, and it's crazy that it didn't get there. One pick away from just sweeping the board on all my NFL prop. It was Jordan Love passing yards. I don't know how I got there. I got the Christian Watson yards. I got all the stuff from Detroit, just everything. The Jacobs anytime touchdown, all of it, man, just sweeping the board. How does Jordan Love go into half with 31 passing yards? It just baffled me, but that's the one thing that held me back last night, Dean.
And I watched some of the game. I didn't watch all the game. I was watching a lot of basketball. But Reed didn't have a catch, right?
Bagels.
Correct. He's put up the bagel.
And a lot of season-long leagues are heading into their playoffs. Some have already begun. Best ball, that was a killer, especially when he comes out and talks some shit about wait till I come to Detroit next time. And then put a bagel on the board. Oh, yeah. He, little bulletin board material. And I think he was on a podcast with the St. Brown brothers. And
I saw that.
And puts up a 0.
The St. Brown brothers have a podcast? I didn't know this.
Yes, they do.
Okay,
it's pretty entertaining, but no, I thought the matchup was good for Watson anyway. I didn't even have Reed, but I got a question in chat. Steve wants to know: do I like UNLV +4? I'm not touching that game. I think the public right now, it looks like there's a lot of UNLV bets, so I get it, but I'm not touching it because of what Finger for Fun says. Genty going for 180. I mean, his prop is like 175, so that's not saying a whole lot, Finger. Yeah. That guy, if you guys haven't watched college football, you haven't watched Genty, you just heard the name.
I've heard the name. I'm aware of it.
He's in the championship tonight. Tonight, the championship game for that conference. I think it starts at 6 or 7. Watch him. He's absolutely electric. He'll be the first running back off the board. And even though teams don't want to draft a running back in the first round, he's going to make somebody pull the trigger on him. He's that good. So sit down and watch him.
Oh, you're getting called out here, Chop.
Oh,
Genty is mid. That's the new.
Who said that?
For the youngsters. He's mid.
FU said that.
FU too said that. It makes sense.
Man, like the guy's prop every week is over under 2.5 touchdowns for a running back. Man, it's pretty remarkable. But
he had one, I think, what is it? Even to score 3 touchdowns, and that thing was minus something. Just some crazy odds. And he may, yeah,
he's pretty good. We get to watch him tonight on an island game. I suggest tuning in.
Crunch time's coming in 5-10 minutes or so. Whatever questions if you have in chat, by all means. I will explain. Some people figured it out, but let's go ahead and explain how we got there with today's Film Friday. So Oz actually has 2 meanings. It works 2 different ways. One of the stars of this movie is from Australia. Of course, Australia is known as Oz. And I know Chop's a big fan. One of the big shows when you go to Vegas, the Thunder from Down Under. The Thunder from Down Under. Just remember, keep that in the back of your mind. The second one, Divorce. Well, the two stars in this movie, two of the big stars in this movie, ended up getting divorce. Clue number 3 was Carnival. Beer guessed Titanic, and the reason why I said Beer, you're on the right track, because Carnival is a very famous cruise line, and this movie, of course, stars Tom Cruise.
Oh, well done, Dean. I forget. I got to dig layers into the onion with your clues. Well done.
And then, I thought, Carnival and drag, that was sort of like a diversion, but drag, we're using drag here in the form of with racing. When you race, dragging is one of the things they do. I don't know the official. I think it's for as far as getting behind somebody, so you don't have to burn as much gas. I think I'm not a NASCAR guy. I think that's what dragging means. And of course, clue number 5, rubbing. Rubbing is racing is one of the famous lines from Days of Thunder. Days of Thunder. And my last clue, if I needed it, an emergency, was OKC. But I thought that would be just handing it to somebody. I felt like that would be just giving it away. But that was there in a pinch if we needed it. But that's how we explain Film Friday. Oh, is it drafting? Well, dragging is something else in racing.
When you said it, and I immediately got it, was because thinking drag race cars racing. So.
Yeah, that might have been I was thinking both of them. I wasn't sure which one to use. So there you go. They're both adjacent to racing. We can agree on that.
I would have had to go to OKC to get that one. So kudos to Chop.
Let's see. Did you not play my court? I'm not sure what Tim's talking about. Is Tim talking about hockey right now? I know Tim had a big hockey night last night, so shout out to Tim. Scott wants to know, Beer on FanDuel. Do you like Jalen Johnson or Sabonis?
I like them both tonight. I'm going to give the edge to Sabonis. We mentioned Spurs are going to be undersized, and even if they bring in a Collins, a Bassey, Sabonis should be able to have his way. I do like Johnson, though, in that game as well, but I'll give the edge to Sabonis there.
All right. And drag race is a strip. There's drag racing is a sport. Drag works. It all works. So
it's a solid clue, man. They're getting on you here for no reason. Chop got it, so clearly the clues worked.
Yeah, and Chop doesn't know anything about NASCAR. I don't think. You know anything about NASCAR, Chop?
Nothing except for they go in circles.
That's about what I know.
Let's see. Diego wants to know, is Monk and Ellis good plays for the Kings? Didn't Ellis not play last game? Wasn't he? I think he was out of the rotation last game, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I wouldn't play him.
Let me check and see our minutes on him, but
I'm not saying he's not going to not play tonight, but he's probably not going to play enough to matter.
And we mentioned Monk. I don't mind him for the upside, but the price is just so close to some of the other guys on that team. I'd much prefer DeRozan. So I'm not saying don't play Malik Monk. I just don't. That price not doing us any favors.
Chop, who's the player, or is there a stack that you're most afraid of not having enough of being under the field on?
Under the field, okay. It would probably be, just based on the price tag and the ownership, D'Angelo Russell, because I don't like to play him anyway, so I'm finding reasons not to play him. And, of course, with that ownership and with that price tag, that could definitely bite you.
By the way, if you are in the prop streets, go ahead and check out Splash. Splash is one of those sites that, they have things of that sort. We have a nice little sweet promo code for you. Use the promo code ROTO10. When you play $100 in Quick Picks, you'll get another $50. That link should be in the description there for Splash. Same question for you, Beer. Player or a stack that you're most afraid of just being under the field on that might bite you.
That's a good question. I don't really have a stack that I'll be under the field on that I'm worried about. I know you mentioned that Portland-Utah game. That one, I'm going to have some exposure there. I suppose not enough exposure to the Kings or getting which of the big three of the Kings are going to go off in this matchup. I do think there's going to be production there. I like Sabonis the best. I like the price on DeRozan. So I'll say De'Aaron Fox, probably a guy that I'm not going to have enough of that I'm worried about.
Jonathan Isaac is ruled out. Do we care? 15 minutes, center minutes. Like maybe we get a little bit more for
I think
Matata.
I think it helps Mo Wagner.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to play that game anyway, but
That's what I'm asking. Do I have to care now? Is what I'm asking basically. Is Goga?
do you have to care? Wendell
How many more
Carter
minutes do you
Jr.
grab?
Yeah,
Wendell
if you
Carter
want to play
Jr.
Wendell
producing
Carter
things.
Jr., Mo Wagner, or Goga, then you have to care. If you don't, then you don't have to care.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure how much does anybody get enough more.
Kobe White is in.
I was hoping he'd be out. That's certainly. I think that hurts IU. Lonzo available and Buzelis available. Chicago not as appealing to me.
Yeah, they just went from few pieces he liked to too many bodies.
I wonder, is Buzelis, did he break his nose? Looked like he broke his nose. I'm not sure if it was a broken nose or not, but he was bleeding pretty good. It was a gusher. I wonder if he's wearing a shield of some sort tonight.
Which sucks because he started to look good, man. It's like, all right, it's finally getting in the rotation, getting some minutes, looking good out there, and then boom.
He was top 15, right? Pick. I feel like he was pretty early.
He was up there.
Yep. Yeah. This draft, everybody said, and I don't watch college basketball, but it seems better than people. Maybe it's just expectations. Everybody said that the draft stinks, but there's a lot of these players that look like they're going to stick around for a while.
Well, you get the guys coming in that nobody knows about. That's the problem. So it's not like our day. We knew all the college guys. We followed the draft. Now it's a much different process. You guys got coming from overseas and different leagues, and so yeah, it's a lot of these guys look good so far.
We have crunch time knocking on the door. Before we do that, this is kind of Mr. Richards' question: core play in DK for smaller field. Well, Chop, just tell me, I guess, who would be your core play? Who's breaking the slate for you?
So I have two guys highlighted, Dean, from the same team. I can't say them both, but I'm just going to say that one of them.
Are these knockers?
No, I can only give you one of them. One of them is going to blow away their price tag, and it's hard for me to decide which one because they're distinctly different price ranges. But the guy I'm going to give you is Benedict Mathurin. I think he's going to snap out of his little two-game funk. So I think it's just a great spot for his skill set against this type of team. So I'm going Mathurin.
Was the other guy? It was either McConnell or Halliburton. If you're going all the way up, bro.
No, it was Toppin. I think Toppin. If it's not Mathurin, because at 3,600 he could smash that.
Yeah.
What do you got, Beer? See Mathurin and raise him.
I'm going to say Walker Kessler. I like what I've seen, and with Ayton, allergic to rebounds, this seems like a double-double spot. You add in the steals and the blocks like you talked about, and he's a guy that can just generate so many points quickly. So Walker Kessler, my break the slate play tonight.
Without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's bring him in. Let's bring in crunch time. We got Kevin Roth and the Taylors, Taylor Smith, Taylor J. Zwarych. What's up, Roth? How are things?
Things are good. Life is good. I'm a little jealous of how cool the tag is for just beer and chop. All the rest of us,
just a Roth
or social. Nothing's cooler than just beer or chop.
Just put Roth on yours.
Yeah, Roth. People know
he's not as cool as beer or chop, but
no, but you're close. Then you're on the podium at least.
Maybe I'll put pimp. Butthole says,
there you go.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Well, now that's pimp. Drummond's in, by the way, if anybody cares. Drummond good to go to play tonight for Philadelphia. But you workshop that. I don't know if pimp is what you want to go with. Definitely not for the weather. Make sure you change that if you go on the Weather Channel. Probably don't do that there.
Good call.
Will be a fun reaction though. Taylors, we're good.
Ready to rock.
Always good.
Just getting my new set of lineups in.
TJ's worn out from all his guesses in the Discord.
Yeah,
I'm pretty disappointed in Dean. I don't know if Dean is playing a bit or if it went over his head that egregiously, but that was not a real guess. That was me calling back to the time that I guessed his movie on the very first clue.
Look, I need to see. You got to put it like in italics or something like that. If it's a sarcastic guess. Otherwise, I'm going to assume they're all real. So I don't know. You got to use sarcasm font to make it easier. I would never have a bit, TJ. I'm above that. I would never do a bit.
Dean's first clue for a movie Monday was football, and I got it Ace Ventura Pet Detective on the very first clue.
That's
Oh,
hilarious.
That is, and it probably pissed him off. Like,
I was
what?
so mad.
How'd you get it in one guess?
Dean takes this personal when you guess it, man.
I thought football. Dean's from Florida. Who's the most famous Florida football player? Dan Marino. Dan Marino's in Ace Ventura Pet Detective. Bang.
Wow, well done.
I was so mad. All right. We got to step aside and get out of here, make way for crunch time, for chop, for beer. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. We have 40 minutes nonstop NBA DFS conversation taking y'all with the lock. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff, as always, from the GrindersLive crew. Welcome to it. You are now in crunch time. Two of the sharpest minds in the biz. We're going to take you up to lock. We'll take you through lock. We'll answer your questions. We'll give you some plays, FanDuel, DK. We're going to do it all. And we start by introducing the gang. Taylor Smith in the house. What up, Taylor?
Not much, Roth. 7 games, so kind of light for a Friday. No more NBA Cup, sadly, until next week, but should be a fun one nevertheless.
Yeah, but the games next week are like no longer group games. They're the real deal. They are knockout elimination games, right?
Yeah, it's on to the knockout stages.
That's fun.
Sure.
Do they still count in your actual season-long record once you're in the knockout stages?
I don't know. They might.
We need to Google this.
I think they do because they then schedule the teams who didn't make it for new games like next week. So I think they count until like the final 4, maybe.
Okay, I know at some point it stops counting, so I need to figure that out. Yeah, we got TJ in the house as well, as Dean says, the finest DFS player in Saskatoon, Canada, which is a great intro. What's up, TJ? How are you?
He makes me feel bad about it too because he says one of the best.
One of the well, there is. You told me there's another really good player there
in
right?
the province. He lives 2.5 hours away. I'm still the best in my city.
Okay, I thought it was in Saskatoon. One of the best DFS players in Saskatoon.
No, I like your way better. Let's not revert back to Dean's way. I like your way.
Yeah. How are you, man? How you feeling?
Doing pretty well. Got a beautiful warm day of about 30 degrees here in Saskatoon today. Balmy, which is
I was about to say it must be freezing there right now, but it's only 30 degrees, which
it was negative 20 the day before yesterday, and it's 30 degrees today, and it's going to be that way for the next week. So it's basically summer.
Bro, negative 20. Just I can't wrap my mind around what that's like. But quite frankly, I don't want to. So good luck to you. Enjoy going outside again in roughly 5 or 6 months. But that's just going to help you lock in on to the DFS slate when it gets that cold. Let's see here. Let's dive into it here. I have not built lineups yet. I fully plan on it. And of course, as per usual, I need your help to get that done. So TJ, would you mind giving me an overview on what news has happened and perhaps what news we are still waiting on to potentially happen?
Me or Taylor? Sorry, I missed that.
Oh, I hit a TJ. You can
my bad. I thought you said Taylor. That's my bad. We got it's a little less exciting than it was earlier in the slate. We were hoping for some value to open up in Chicago, especially because the Indiana versus Chicago game is probably the most fun one to stack up and play on the slate because it's going to be really fast paced. There's not going to be a lot of defense played. So it's that game that we're looking at a lot. We're looking at Sacramento and San Antonio a lot. And we're looking at the Lakers and Atlanta quite a bit. And other than that, it's kind of like it's not that big of a slate, but we can almost just cut it right in half after those 3 games anyways and go, I only just want a couple pieces of those other teams, maybe one per team, and that's it. So we can kind of cut the slate in half and go Indy, Chicago, Sacramento, San Antonio, Utah, and then Lakers and Atlanta and just make that our focus and ignore most of the rest of it.
Okay, good note there. Some people talking about weather here in the chat, but also Dez says, Taylor, what is the best value on the slate? I'm hardly seeing anything. Is this one of those slates where I can't just play a bunch of 3K dudes? I hate that.
Yeah, there's some value. It's not super comfortable. San Antonio, again, for the second day in a row, looks like maybe the best source of it. There's some Indiana stuff. I think Atlanta's kind of interesting on DK at least. So there's stuff. It's not amazing, but there's stuff.
Okay, well, let's dive right into it. We like to start on FanDuel And Taylor, if you wouldn't mind with a little point guard talk over there, and we'll work our way through.
Certainly. So yeah, that Indiana-Chicago game is kind of the headliner. Halliburton is super up and down, but if there's ever a spot he was going to be up again, it's probably this one. He's a little bit discounted thanks to his inconsistency. You can also play him at shooting guard on FanDuel, which is pretty helpful. Very obvious play at 8.5. I think McConnell's fine, more so if Nembhard is out. That's one of the few items we're still waiting on. If Nembhard's out, I think McConnell's okay. I don't love playing him and Halliburton together, but it's fine enough since we're lacking value. D'Angelo Russell, more so okay, still reasonable salary on FanDuel with Austin Reeves for the Lakers. I think he's decent enough. Chris Paul is popping into a lot of builds on FanDuel. I don't feel great about that on a back-to-back. He's a little bit elderly, but it's okay. They're still without Wemby. No Vassell tonight. And then Stephon Castle, you can also play a point guard on FanDuel, which is helpful. He looks like the better value, I think, especially on DK. But fine on FanDuel too. Mike Conley, Anthony Simons, Colin Sexton. We just got that Wemby's a game time decision now, so that might shake things up. He was doubtful before. We'll see what happens with that. It's interesting.
I mean, we need to know that. I mean, right? That was the spot we were talking
about. All the
about.
value we have is on San Antonio.
Right.
So
Right. If you were struggling for value before, you might really be screwed now. Okay,
I honestly don't think it changes that much because with Vassell out, we still really like guys like Stephon Castle and the 5K guys on the wing. And the backup centers, Zach Collins and Charles Bassey are both priced up. Jeremy Sohan's priced up. So it makes us not like Sohan if Wemby's in. But other than that, I don't think it actually changes a whole lot.
Okay. Interesting stuff. Taylor, anything else you want to add there at point guard? By the way, shout out to Dez, who says his first time watching, he's going to stick with us here at RotoGrinders, which is the right choice. You have chose wisely, sir. Anything else you want to add there at point guard, Taylor? I'm sorry, I was kind of catching up in the chat.
No, that probably does it. I don't think, like he was saying, the Wemby thing doesn't really change stuff for Castle. With the sellout, I think he's fine either way.
Okay, very good. TJ, any names you want to add in there at point?
Tyrese Halliburton is my favorite of this group by a pretty wide margin. In tournaments, I'd be looking to get way underweight on Chris Paul, D'Angelo Russell, Mike Conley, Sexton, George, all these guys that are projecting near the top outside of Halliburton. And then maybe McConnell in lineups I'm not playing Halliburton would be the only guys at these top range of ownership I'm actually interested in for tournaments. I love Stephon Castle. I think Kobe White is a great play at only 6,300. He was questionable all day. Nobody was expecting him to play. We're projecting him for 11% ownership, but I don't think he actually gets there because nobody's thinking about him. Nobody's had him in their pool all day. Trae Young at 9,300, I think is awesome in tournaments. Steph Curry at 8,600, I think is a very good tournament play. And then De'Aaron Fox projecting for 1.5-2% ownership today. Love him for tournaments.
Okay. That brings us to the old shooting guard. TJ, what are you doing there?
A lot of the same names. Halliburton is available here. Benedict Mathurin is only 6K on FanDuel. I do think that is reasonable ownership and for him just because he's such a great play. He's an absolute cash game lock. It's going to be 40-ish% owned, higher than that in single entry and higher dollar stuff. So if the rest of your lineup is kind of chalky, not playing Mathurin is a way to get away from that. But like the Indiana Pacers are the top offense target on the slate. So that's why we like him. Stephon Castle here as well. I talked about him at point guard, but I love him here for tournaments. Kobe White and Derek White, both of them I think are great tournament plays. And then maybe a little bit of Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons in that last game. Malik Monk is all right, but not a whole lot I actually like here at shooting guard.
Okay. Taylor, you want to add a few names? Maybe there is something you like there?
Not really. The Pacer stuff, of course, Castle here as well. Levine, we just got available. I was going to mention him as a decent play. Giddey also in. He was probable. So the Bulls are pretty much fully healthy except for Pat Williams. So I think Levine's okay. Hasn't shown a lot of upside, but should be relatively low owned compared to some of the other stuff on this slate. I don't mind Jaylen Brown or Derek White in that Boston-Milwaukee game. Less enthused about Drew Holiday. I mentioned Simons at point guard. I think he's a pretty strong play tonight.
Okay. Getting all kinds of names thrown my way, and we're going to go through every position, and then we will take questions. But I'm seeing names like Abdia, Io, let's see, Juzang in Utah. So a whole lot of names coming. So if any of those happen to come up at these positions, point them out. If not, Taylor, bring me to small forward.
Yeah, I think Io gets a pretty big downgrade. He went off last night, but with Kobe back and all that, not as good of a spot. He's a little bit priced up too. Small forward, Mathurin obviously going to be the standout here. Shooting guard, small forward. Keldon Johnson was going to be a strong play if Wemby's out. We'll see if he is. Keldon under 5K looks pretty good, even off the bench. We're expecting LeBron in. He is a decent play. The Lakers have been horrible lately. He's been pretty bad overall as well, but good salary enough for the matchup against Atlanta. It's a good game in general, so I think it's fine. I don't love the first game, but Franz Wagner is like the one guy who kind of stands out there. Orlando, Philadelphia. Anthony Edwards maybe in a tournament, but hasn't shown a ton of ceiling this season. Tatum at the high end, maybe more so in DK, but I like Boston in general against Milwaukee tonight. Shouldn't see any minutes limit after missing the last game, so I think he looks really good in tournaments today.
Okay. TJ, a few more at the 3.
Yeah, not many names to add. I think Taylor mostly covered it. I like Dalton Connect as a cheap option for tournaments today. Jalen Johnson as a spend up. Nobody's going to. Paul George at 7,700, I think, is very interesting for tournaments. I agree with Taylor. I don't really want to play that first game at all. But Wagner and George are the two players in my pool. George can rack up a bunch of steals and blocks, and he's projecting for 4% ownership. So that's basically why. It's just absolutely nobody's playing him. Nobody else really I'm super interested in. Keldon Johnson will be my favorite if Victor Wembanyama is out. If he's in, that does lower him quite a bit, but I think he's cheap enough you can still play him. Julian Champagny at 5,600 I think is interesting for tournaments, but outside of that, same names that Taylor mentioned.
Okay, power forward.
Jeremy Sohan is the cash play and super chalk play of the day today at 6,300. He started at the center position and smashed last night. Victor Wembanyama is, of course, now a game time decision and not doubtful. So there does put some fragility there. I think he's somebody you can get underweight on in tournaments anyways. He's $6,300. He's not that cheap. There are lots of ways he could fail at that price tag. I would rather get overweight on Keldon Johnson than Jeremy Sohan today. I really love Obi Toppin all the way down at 4,500. I think he's my favorite salary saver on the slate. Chicago gives up so many points in the paint. He's a guy that wants to run. He's a one guy that wants to get to the hoop. I think he's in a really nice spot today off the bench. DeMar DeRozan is interesting, but I like him more on DraftKings. LeBron James at only 9,400, I think, is very much in play, as is Julius Randle at 72. And then I had already mentioned Jalen Johnson at 91 that I like. And Sabonis. I don't know whether or not Wembanyama plays, I like Sabonis. He's absolutely torched him in the past, as well as if he's out, then he's going up against Jeremy Sohan. So he should just be able to get 306 rebounds in this game.
Yeah, that sounds correct. 306 on the dot. TJ, let's say Wemby is in, because we don't see the late, from doubtful to game time decision all that often. Are you fully out on Sohan at that price tag? And then there was one other big man spur, Big Body Johnson. Are you out on those guys if Wemby is in?
Sohan, I would be out on at that price tag. Keldon, I do still think is playable at 4,700, but I would probably try and get off of him, hoping that not enough people get off of their Spurs. And he's like, because if he's 30-40% owned, even 20+% owned, that's too much for him. And so I would probably try and get off of him just because I don't think enough people will.
Gotcha. Okay. Taylor, your thoughts at power forward, please.
Yeah, Sohan, I think, becomes a pretty bad play if the Wemby news comes out late and the ownership stays relatively high. He's just priced up a bit. If Wemby's out, he looks great. He was in 100% of the optimals I ran before this with Wemby out of projections. So keep an eye on that. Obviously, he's kind of a smash if Wemby is out. Keldon also, AD and LeBron. AD power forward only on FanDuel, which is kind of weird, but it is what it is. Sabonis, I do like a lot better if Wemby is out. Zach Collins and Sohan got roasted by Vooch last night. Similar spot for Sabonis, obviously. Siakam in that Indiana game might go a little bit under-owned compared to the guards at least. So he looks good. Jeremy Grant hasn't shown a huge ceiling, but decent enough value on FanDuel. And then Randall, I think, is kind of the one Timberwolf somewhat on my radar tonight. Not my favorite game, but he looks pretty decent.
No notes on Obi Toppin, who is 4-5. He's got a couple dots down there, and I think Chop said he was one of his two guys in consideration for game breaker. Taylor, just not getting
Yeah, I think TJ shouted him out. He's a good play. Cheaper on DK, but still good on FanDuel too.
Yeah, he's my favorite value on the slate.
Okay, my bad. I don't know how I missed that. Okay, Taylor, what are you doing at center, please?
Yeah, so Ayton looks like maybe the chalky one on FanDuel, only 6,100. His backups are still out. Good matchup against Utah. He looks good. I like Kessler a decent amount in tournaments. Vooch, of course, the Bulls being at full strength isn't great, but it is a good spot. He's only 8K, so cheaper on FanDuel than he is on DK. AD is center only. I don't know why I said power forward. He looks good. LeBron probably in, but I still like the spot a good amount for him. And Sabonis would be the only other one. There's really nothing cheap. Zach Collins is 5-5. If Wemby's out and Collins gets back into the starting lineup, I think he's playable, but more so in a tournament than anything else.
Okay, TJ, center.
Yeah, Ayton, I agree. I think it's kind of the cash play, but with his ownership in tournaments, I'd be looking to get off of that. I do like Nick Vucevic quite a bit at only 8K. I think he's got a huge ceiling in this matchup. John Collins is fine, but I probably like him more at power forward. I love Taylor's Walker Kessler call. I think that's an awesome play for tournaments. That would be the majority of the guys that I'm looking to get to. Vucevic, Walker Kessler, Sabonis, I think are my three favorite options at center.
Okay. Two things that I'm just learning. One is that it is Giannis's birthday tonight. He seems like he's a little weird in a likable way. Seems like that matters to him. I don't know, just my impression. And second, producer Steve, this is just shameful. He says, as someone who bet the Spurs before I realized Embiid was doubtful, I sure hope he plays. Come on, man. You can't be betting the Spurs and not knowing if Wemby's going to play or not. That's tough. What do we got here? Alex asking about Spurs if Wemby. I'll type that in because we went over it. I think we got to kick it to DK. But before we do that, you know that we are all about the value here at RotoGrinders. The busiest time in the sports calendar. Perfect time to sign up for RG Combo. For a limited time, your first month of combo access is just $79.99, which is only $5 more than NBA premium. So you get all the other sports for $5 more, $79.99 for 1 month of combo access. Do not pass up that fantastic value. Guys, let's kick it over to DK. And TJ, you can start us off there.
Point guard position, Tyrese Halliburton is the guy I'm going to do the most. I have 30% of him. D'Angelo Russell is next, but I'm going to be heavily underweight. He's projecting for like 40-ish% owned, just a little bit under. I have 28%. I wanted to get a little less, but Optimizer just kept shooting it out, and I don't want to change it. Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox, two of my favorite tournament plays on the slate. I wrote up De'Aaron Fox in the expert survey. At his price tag, there's just no reason he should be so low owned. He's been consistently 40 to 45 points every single game with ceilings over 50 fairly commonly. He put up 80 just 2.5 weeks ago. This is a guy that's been playing well all season, and he should be probably $700 more. So I don't really know why he's not picking up ownership in a really nice matchup. Love him for tournaments. Derek White, TJ McConnell, Shaden Sharp, George, Dosunmu. These guys are all okay, but I really like Kobe White for tournaments, who are currently projecting at 1% ownership.
All right, Taylor, your thoughts there at point on DK.
Yeah, mostly the same stuff. Simons, we talked about on FanDuel, I like quite a bit. Russell looks like he's going to be pretty chalky again, starting for Reeves. Halliburton, a great play over here too. I think Trae Young, just over 9K, but the Lakers, like we've said, are kind of a dumpster fire on defense. Usage has been down for him lately. I think he's kind of dealing with an injury, but still getting assists, still playing a ton of minutes. I think Trae Young looks really good again tonight.
Okay. How about shooting guard, Taylor?
So Castle is 4,800, I think. He's going to be good either way with Wemby in or out, like we said. Decent chalk there. Mathurin, more expensive on DK than FanDuel, but still looks good on DK. Connect is still under 5K, starting presumably with Reeves out. He's okay enough. Jaylen Brown, Derek White, like them quite a bit as well. And then Bogdanovic still under 5K on DK, playing a decent role off the bench for Atlanta.
Okay. TJ, any other names you want to throw in the mix there at shooting guard?
I have 70% Stefan Castle. He's my highest owned play on the slate. I'm just getting to an absolute ton of him, and I think I like him even if Wemby plays. Mathurin, Connect, Derek White, Kobe White, the next four guys in terms of ownership. After that, I got a bunch of guys in the 10% range. Zach LaVine, Shaden Sharp, Jaylen Brown, Dosunmu, Bogdanovic. I think Malik Monk and Peyton Pritchard are okay in tournaments at super low ownership, but this is just a Stefan Castle position for me.
Yeah, and as is small forward, because I do believe Castle is shooting guard small forward eligible. Am I making that up?
Yes,
I'm making that up. I'm thinking of Connect. That's my bad. I'm making that up. Take me to small forward, where I initially had Connect at shooting guard, then I put him at small forward. I don't know. Something about that play I kind of like. TJ, am I crazy?
Connect? No, not at all. I think he's a very good play today. This is where I'm going to have to adjust a lot if Victor Wembanyama plays, because I have 55% Keldon Johnson. Now it's across the small forward and power forward positions, but still 55% Keldon Johnson. I will not want that if Wembanyama is playing. I kind of do hope maybe this Spurs ownership gets pushed down because people see Wembanyama game time decisions. Maybe they start building with him in. And then we get him ruled out after, and people can't get to as many Spurs as they want. But that's probably a little wishful thinking to Galaxy brain, I think. I have, after Keldon Johnson, I have 20% Champagny and 15% Harrison Barnes, though. So do really need Wemby out for this current build. I like Franz Wagner, even though I don't like the game. Same with Paul George. He's projecting for 1.5% ownership. I have 10%, so that's someone I'm very over the field on. DeAndre Hunter is a value play I like quite a bit. He's been playing really good basketball lately. And then your guy, Dalton Connect, I think he's a good play as well.
Very good. Power forward, TJ.
I think Taylor small forward still.
Taylor, small forward.
Tatum, another one. I'll just add 10K flat. I think he looks pretty good. I love the Hunter call. I think he's under projected. Usage has been up this season without DeJounte Murray in there. He's playing off the bench, but he could see around 30 minutes, maybe more, if he gets the LeBron assignment. So I think Hunter's a super good call at 5K flat. But otherwise, I agree. I think Champagny, too. If Wemby's out, it's a really good matchup for a spot-up guy like that.
Okay, great. Power forward, Taylor.
So Sohan Keldon, if Wemby's out, of course. Still playable if he's in, of course, as well. But at ownership, not quite as exciting. Obi Toppin, under 4K, going to be really chalky over here. I think it's fine, but that's a lot for Obi Toppin, who might play 20 minutes off the bench. But great game environment and all that. LeBron, Jeremy Grant, Julius Randle, Pascal Siakam again, even lower owned on DK than FanDuel. Good way to get exposure to Indiana tonight.
TJ, your thoughts at power forward?
Yeah, Keldon Johnson and Obi Toppin, I'm getting over 50% of both of them. Just an absolute ton. Wow. I love Toppin on this slate. Yes, he's going highly owned, but I'm going to be doubling it just because I think it's such a good spot against Chicago. LeBron, I'm getting to as my third highest owned player. I'm going to be very underweight on Sohan. I think I do agree that he's a very good play, but I think he's going over owned just based on people chasing a little bit of his really good game last time out. I think he's going to have a tougher time in this one, and I don't think Sohan, like it was the Bulls that were playing last game. Like that's the best matchup in the entire league by far. And so I think Sohan's going over owned. I only have 20%. Jalen Johnson, I also have 20% of. Love him for tournaments. Jeremy Grant's even cheaper on DraftKings than he is on FanDuel. I think he's in a really good spot. Wagner is power forward eligibility. I got some Barnes, and DeAndre Hunter is power forward eligible. I like him too.
Mike B says no Markkanen love.
No.
Taylor?
Yeah. I like John Collins a little bit more.
Me too.
Okay. All right.
And
then Okay, take me to the center spot. We talked about Obi Toppin. He is center eligible, so I assume you got plenty of him, TJ. But what else are we doing there?
Center position, I have, hold on, just switching over to my ownership. Toppin is 53%, my highest owned guy here, but I'll probably
He's
mostly
top
have
in the
him at power
charts.
forward.
Sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. I said he's top in the charts. I'll stop.
Yeah, he's top in the charts. He's top in the charts. And Clint Capella is actually my second highest owned guy. I have 47% Clint Capella. I did not realize that was the case. I don't want that much. So maybe as soon as we throw it to QQs or Taylor goes to center, I adjust this and try and get less Clint Capella. But Nikola Vucevic, Walker Kessler, two guys I love for tournaments. Miles Turner, John Collins, I'm very interested in. I got a couple punts with Jalen Smith and Isaac Jones. And then I really like Sabonis for tournaments as well. I think that's what I'm going to try and do right now. Get more Sabonis and less Clint Capella, because why do I have 47%?
It's a lot. His ownership projection looks like 23%. Yeah, double in the field there. Taylor, what are you doing at the center spot?
Yeah, I think Capella is a good play against the Lakers. I think Okongwu as a tournament play is pretty interesting too, off the bench. Wouldn't play him together, of course, but he's cheap. Sabonis, love that call. Vucevic as well on DK looks good. Ayton, Turner, Randall, and then Walker Kessler again under 10% owned, might be even less than the 7% I see right now. So Kessler is always a guy on my radar in tournaments.
Okay. Very good. Just locked in my lineup. Feel pretty good about it. Taylor, I do have 3 Lakers. I've got Russell, Connect, and LeBron. Am I doing too much?
I think that's okay. They play a pretty tight rotation, and hopefully they can keep the game close. I think you can do that.
Okay, I did run it back with Capella to try to be like, all right, well, if the game's going to be close, then we'll try to figure out some way to make that work. Okay, we're getting some questions in. We have 11-ish minutes until lock. Again, my computer blew up. I'm on my wife's. I do not have the Discord, so I'm going to be taking those questions from the YouTube. If you're on YouTube, drop your questions and hit us with a thumbs up. It is free content. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that. So hit that like, hit that subscribe button while I scroll up just a little bit. Okay, let's go. Ayo Dosunmu or D-Russ? Taylor, I'm starting with you.
Russell. I don't love Dosunmu with everyone back.
Okay. Any interest in Mo Wagner, TJ, versus K-Town's finest as the 86ers?
No, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it, but I'm not going to Wagner.
Okay. DK core play recap. And Taylor, maybe I'll give that to you as you're just starting a build on DK. Who are a few of the guys you're like, okay, well, give me these 3 dudes and then build from there.
All this when he's out, only one of them if he's in.
Yeah. Essentially, like Sohan and Keldon, if Wemby's out. Castle, either way, I think is probably a core play. Halliburton, I would say, is a core play. And then maybe D'Angelo Russell, just because the value, if we don't get the Spurs, is pretty thin and he's still cheap. So Halliburton, Russell, and the other guy I said, Castle, yeah.
Let's say Wemby is in. Can we play him at 1% ownership and he'll score 80 DK points and we'll be the smartest people alive?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I might make another lineup and do exactly that. By the way, we do have producer Steve, best in the biz, taking the questions from Discord, putting them in my private chat so that I can see them. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it, man. So let's get to some of those. TJ is playing 3 Indianapolis players in a DK 3 max GPP viable. 3 indie players in a 3 max GPP.
Yes.
Okay. DK
I'd probably want a bull in that situation, though.
Probably want a what?
A bull in that situation.
Yeah. DK Cash, TJ, is shooting guard. Oh, this is rude. DK Cash, shooting guard, ugly Derek White and Capella.
No, shooting guard is ugly.
Oh,
Derek White and Capella or Castle and Randall.
Oh, no, I called him ugly then. That's terrible. I like Derek White. I'm sorry, Derek. I didn't mean to call you ugly. Shooting guard is ugly. Do you prefer Derek White and Capella or Castle and Randall, TJ?
I'm just gonna double check where the projection difference is on that from a cash game perspective. Okay, about 70 versus Castle and Randall. I like the Castle and Randall side better in a like for me, but the other side, Derek White and Capella, definitely projects better. So that's your cash option.
Okay. It just says ugly Derek White. I just assumed, that's on me. Just look at the Derek White, he's got a look to him. I'll say that, especially when he got the tooth kind of knocked out. That was really a look. Taylor, FanDuel Cash. Oh, actually, it says, all right, TJ, FanDuel Cash. We're going back to you again. Kobe White or D Russ, they are the same price.
For cash, I think you got to go Russell, but for tournaments, I like White so much better. Like, I think White outscores Russell for personally, but D'Angelo Russell is the better cash game play.
Yeah. Dean says, if Wemby plays, do I still mess with the Sohan, Taylor? I think our answer is
probably not. I think you can. I'm just worried he's going to be too owned for the role with Wemby in, because I don't know if people are going to react, assuming we get it not in the next 8 minutes.
We'll go to pre-DKGPP, Taylor. TJ McConnell or Keldon Big Body Johnson as the last piece in. Also, I've got Toppin and Halliburton in this lineup from Indy.
I think because you have Halliburton, I would play Keldon, but again, don't love it if Wemby's in. So
yeah, okay,
it's tough.
Let's see. We got a Yahoo question. Do we know the salaries on Yahoo? I don't think. The question
Lay it on us, Roth.
Okay, you ready, Taylor?
Why
Is Yabusele too cheap on Yahoo? Do you have an easy way to even look this up?
Yeah. If you can stall for a few seconds, I can look.
Yeah. TJ, I've got a question for you.
Never mind. $16. Drummond is starting. You can play Yabusele. I don't love it. I don't think he's like a glaring value.
Okay, good stuff. TJ, a couple questions for you. This one from JT. Fox or Jalen Johnson on FanDuel? Also, your thoughts on Halliburton, Fox playing both of them at point guard on FanDuel tonight.
Jalen Johnson, I would go Fox, but it's very close. I love them both. And yes, I like playing Fox and Halliburton together.
Yeah, I like it. Our guy Butthole Jenkins says sneaky, low-owned potential break the slate play is Jeremy Grant going for 46 DK points. Would that break the slate? And is that sneaky? And do we like it, Taylor?
I don't think it's super sneaky. I think he's kind of popular, but I also don't know if it would break the slate. Like 46 is fine, but it's okay.
Okay. What do we got? Derek White is going to be in Roth's DM soon. All about that smoke. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm actually a huge Derek White fan. I freaking love his game. So that's my bad, Derek. The White Buffalo, I'm down with you, man. That's my bad. Let's see. Bassie or Looney from Diego Torres. I assume if Wemby's in, we can't play Bassie. I don't even know if we can play Bassie if he's out, Taylor.
Yeah, I think it's Looney either way.
Yeah. Okay. TJ Mike B says Colin or Randall. I assume it's Collins. Colin or Randall?
Randall for small field, Collins for large field.
Okay. FanDuel Cash. TJ 3v3 Sexton, Keon, and Bron or Russell, Halliburton, Mathurin?
Keon?
Do we know who Keon is? Is that
Keldon?
a typo?
Might be Keldon.
Keldon? That's what I was thinking. Let's do that. 3v3, TJ, Sexton, Keldon, and Braun, or Russell, Halliburton, Mathurin?
Russell, Halliburton, Mathurin by a lot.
Very good. Oh, boy. Let's see. Anthony Edwards is a last piece. Somebody mentioned he's not really flashing that ceiling as much. I will let whoever that said that answer.
It was me. He's not really driving to the basket as much. He's kind of settling for threes. So I don't know. I don't love it tonight. Not a great matchup either.
He also said, I don't want to dunk anymore, right?
Lame, if you ask me.
Yeah.
PTSD
I know,
from people saying that.
That's why we watch you, man. That we want to see you try to
Vince
dunk on
Carter went, no, I don't want to dunk anymore. Why would I dunk? Sat out for the Raptors, just stopped playing, and then they traded him for peanuts, and he was the top 5 player in the league for the Nets the rest of that season.
Man, and you're still feeling that pain. Yeah, I can see the hurt.
I'm over it now, actually. It's just someone saying I don't want to dunk anymore brought it back to it brought it back up a little, but in general, I'm over it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Kirkwood is mad at me for calling Derek White ugly. That's not. I deserve the hate. It's fine. Taylor, Mathurin or Grant on FanDuel? Both are 6K.
Probably Mathurin. He's going to be really popular, but good play.
Okay. What else do we have? Taylor, one more for you. Vooch or Jalen Johnson on DK?
I love Vooch. I love them both. I think Vooch, but very good either way.
Okay. Hammer pointing out we only need 4 more likes to get to 100. I'm mildly offended that we're not even at 100, so we got to get at least that. If you don't mind, personal favor, hit that thumbs up button for us so that I can tell my bosses, look, we got 100 likes. It's all right. It's acceptable. Anything under that, I might get fired. I don't think they'd fire me for that. Top spend up on FanDuel. Good question. Your favorite spend up on FanDuel? I'll let you both answer. Taylor, you go first.
Halliburton, but someone a bit more under the radar-ish, I would say Tatum.
Was Halliburton your first answer? I misheard it.
Yeah, Halliburton.
Halliburton or Tatum. All right. TJ, your favorite spend up on FanDuel?
Halliburton probably also mine, but if not him, torn between Trae Young and De'Aaron Fox. I think I'm going to go Fox.
Okay, very good. Guys, we're about 2 minutes until lock. We have answered just about all of your questions. If you have more, get them in the YouTube chat now. And we got one from Naja. TJ, Fox or D-Russ on DK single entry in a small field?
Oh, Fox.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're like $3,000 apart.
Okay. Well, I mean, assuming we're talking about
salaries.
We live in the world of
definitely still Fox. Like D'Angelo Russell, I think is one of the most overowned plays on the slate.
Ooh, okay, very good. Javier pointing out we actually had 120 likes until I called Derek White ugly. So now I may actually get in trouble for that. That makes sense. Who's breaking the slate tonight? Is that the same question as who's your favorite spend up? I guess not. Who's breaking the slate tonight? TJ?
I'll be topping.
Topping. Taylor?
Let's say Anthony Simons.
I'm going with LeBron and Dalton Connect in a shootout. Less than a minute left. Here we go. 4,500 on DK from Ismail Taylor. 4,500 at the forward position.
Let me look real quick. Is that Bogdanovich range? Maybe. No, it is not. It's very brutal. It's probably top it and then spend the money elsewhere, I guess.
Okay. Or Dalton Connect and spend the money elsewhere.
He's 4.7.
Yep. So. Okay. Hey, guess what? We are moments, seconds even until the lock. Thank you for hitting us with those thumbs up. Thanks for hitting with those questions. Mr. Richards says, big thanks to Kevin and the Taylors. Guys, as always, we appreciate you. So for Taylor, for TJ, for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, but making terrible bets about the Spurs, not knowing if Wemby is in or out. We appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been crushed.